So I don't think I've ever gotten any advice on actually directing a project. I've mainly just been winging it for the most part and hoping for the best. But the best advice I ever got in general when you're trying to start a project, when you're trying to lead a project, is to start small. And I know that seems very, very obvious, but I got way, way too excited at the beginning of this journey, and I tried to jump straight into making a half an hour pilot when I've never made anything like that before, let alone try and lead a team through that. And it was actually an industry professional that I'm in contact with who was the one to give me the advice on starting small. It was actually them who suggested I start with a teaser or a trailer or something like that to gauge if people are interested in the show at all before jumping in to a half an hour pilot and spending a lot of money on that. And it ended up actually being the best advice I was ever given because I learned more in making the teaser than I ever did in trying to make the pilot. But that was due to a lot of factors because with the pilot, I was mainly working by myself because it was extremely, extremely expensive to try and build a team for that. It was myself, some voice actors, some friends of mine who wanted to help out, and that was that. And I didn't know what I was doing, so we ended up starting and stopping and starting and stopping and then going back to the beginning and then rewriting, and there was just a lot happening that I didn't learn anything. But with a teaser, it was easier to focus. I was able to save up money for the teaser and bring in an actual amazing, wonderful creative team. A friend of mine came on as the assistant, and I actually learned a lot from her. I learned a lot from my other friends who work within the animation industry, and it was thanks to them that this teaser ended up coming together, and I ended up learning what it really means to try and pull together a team, what it means to schedule, what it means to budget, what it means to give people different assignments, what is the pipeline like. But I've never been given actual one-to-one advice on directing. It's mainly just been me winging it and going for what I feel is right, or learning to backtrack and learning to admit when I am wrong. You have to be able to do that, and you have to be transparent with a team if you feel that you were in the wrong. But if you want me to make a separate video about what it was that I learned in particular about directing through this project, I would be more than happy to cover that because there's just so much that I had learned. But the difficulty with it is trying to condense it down into like a 1 minute segment for this Q&A. But if you want me to talk about like things that I learned with directing or things that I would now do differently, I would be more than happy to make a video on that.